kidding. Good morning and welcome to the Commission's administrative meeting for today, Wednesday, July 21st, 2021. Before we start the meeting this morning, I have a few comments with respect to the state of retail supply competition in Maryland. Over the past few years, the Commission has ramped up enforcement with respect to the licensees that hold both natural and electric gas licenses for residential, commercial, and industrial service. In 2019, we created a new compliance and enforcement unit, and in the past 2 years, we've increased our tactical deployment of resources to detect any type of either rogue or suppliers that are not necessarily complying with the Code of Maryland regulations or the Maryland statute, which is the Public Utilities article. I should be clear that the primary goal of the Commission's enforcement program is compliance. Unfortunately, we continue to see a number of retail suppliers engage in practices that could be deemed deceptive or otherwise having marketing practices that aren't fully honest and upfront with the customers that they're trying to recruit. We expect our companies to exercise due diligence when training their employees, whether they be solicitors by call or solicitors that go door to door. Our licensees, and we have several hundred of them, and I should stress that most of them, the large majority, are honest and in compliance with the Commission's regulations. But we continue to see statistics that show that we do have a subset of retail suppliers that are not promoting an organizational culture of compliance. In our compliance and enforcement unit, we do have a number of employees whose job it is to surveil the market on a daily basis, to look at the complaints, to detect trends, and they will continue to do so. However, they're also accessible, and I would encourage retail suppliers, to the extent that they have a question regarding interpretation of the regulations, they're always free to reach out to both the Consumer Affairs Division and the Compliance and Enforcement Unit for guidance. Additionally, something that we haven't seen at this commission, but I'd like to see a lot more of it, is the self-reporting of violations by retail suppliers. Our retail suppliers haven't been conditioned to report on themselves when they trigger a violation of either statute or regulation, and they should do so. The Commission will receive those reports and will look at them in the light of which they're tendered to the CEU. Of course, if the Commission on its own detects any violations, there will be no credit given to the retail supplier. So let me just stress that we are approachable as an agency. The CEU is approachable, and our suppliers should make good contact with them to the extent that they have questions regarding compliance issues. I would like to note that earlier this month, we concluded fiscal year 2021. So now we have a good sense of where our statistics lie in terms of customer complaints. And if you visit our website under energy supplier complaints, you will see the entire list of complaints that triggered our threshold. At the Commission, we have a threshold where if any supplier generates more than 3 complaints in any given month, those statistics will become public. I am happy to report that over the past year, from fiscal year 2020 to fiscal year 2021, which ended on June 30th, the number of complaints that were triggered by this screen dropped from 316 to 157. That is exactly a 50% decrease in number of complaints for purposes of this screen, and I appreciate that. We're heading in the right direction, obviously. When also looking at these statistics in terms of the number of suppliers that triggered this screen, we dropped from 18 suppliers in fiscal year 2020 to 11 suppliers in fiscal year 2021. Also, movement in the right direction. I will note the top 5 suppliers that triggered this screen, not only in terms of raw numbers, but also there's a correlation in terms of the number of complaints found in favor of the consumer. When looking at these statistics, it's important to also see the number of complaints found in favor of the company. We recognize that sometimes consumers don't quite understand the contract that they signed, and perhaps the consumer mistakenly signed up or had a complaint that we did not find sufficient valid grounds to find in the consumer's favor. But these are the top 5 companies that we found in favor of the consumer in terms of raw complaints in fiscal year 2021. And they are, number 1, SFE Energy. Second, Park Power. Third is IDT Energy. Fourth is Statewise Energy Maryland, who I will note has voluntarily suspended solicitation of new customers in the state. I should also note that Statewise is affiliated with the first entity that I mentioned, which is SFE. There is a relationship between those 2 companies. And the 5th company is Titan Gas and Power, doing business as Clean Sky Energy. Going forward, the commission will pay particularly close attention to those companies who are consistently on the commission's radar, and the commission will not hesitate to prosecute those companies that we find are in flagrant disregard of our state laws and regulations. Again, I would just like to close by stating that we recognize that the overwhelming number, several hundred retail suppliers in our state, are in compliance with our laws and regs and providing customers with not only choice, but competition and other products and services. The commission has not invested so much time and resources in rulemaking such as supplier consolidated billing to let a few rogue suppliers be the scourge of this industry. And I look forward with my colleagues' support to continue to police this market and to clean it. Thank you. Any comments from my colleagues? Commissioner Richard.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I really appreciate. Thank you for bringing up this very important topic and really highlighting these statistics. For me, the promise of customer choice was really to give Marylanders control over their usage of energy, and really to advance important state issues such as renewable energy. Giving them options as far as energy efficiency. And it was also really to promote energy innovation in our state. And for me, there's no place in Maryland for some of these outfits that are scamming, slamming, or otherwise robbing our electric and gas customers. So you do have a partner in me to make sure we're coming down hard on these disreputable and, as you put it, rogue suppliers. So again, thank you for bringing up this important topic.
Thank you, Commissioner. We will now move to our business component of the meeting. We'll begin with approval of the meeting minutes on July 14th, 2021. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The meeting minutes are approved. Good morning, Mr. Secretary.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. There are 6 items on today's consent agenda. Item number 1 is an unbundled network element loop forbearance amendment to an interconnection agreement between Verizon Maryland LLC and Intelligent Solutions Inc. Item number 2 consists of tariff revisions from EXO Communication Services LLC regarding 8YY access charge reform. Items numbers 3, 4, and 5 are revised tariff pages, updating standard offer service rates for type 2 customers from respectively the Potomac Edison Company, Delmarva Power and Light Company, and Potomac Electric Power Company. And finally, item number 6 is an application from Progressive Energy Group LLC for a license to supply electricity in the state.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have questions on these 6 consent agenda items? Hearing none, I would move that with respect to item number 1, that we note the amendment. With respect to item number 2, that we accept the tariff revisions for a filing with an effective date of July 1st, 2021, and direct the company to refund the overcollection of $16.40. With respect to items number 3, 4, and 5, I move that we accept the tariff revisions for filing with an effective date of September 1st, 2021. And with respect to item number 6, I move that we grant the company a license to operate as an electricity supplier in Maryland, limited to broker services for the customer classes and territories applied for and recommended by staff, and direct the company to file notice with the commission within 30 days of any changes to the information in its application. The vote begins with Commissioner Herman,
Aye.
Commissioner Linton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
I vote aye. The motions are approved.
Mr. Chairman, today's administrative agenda consists of one item, item number 7. It's a request from Ogos Energy LLC and Earth and Air Technologies LLC for a waiver of the operational deadline under COMAR 20.62 for its Clees Mill Community Solar Project. On this item for staff, we have Annette Garofalo, and for the companies, Mike Miller, John Finnerty, George Wolgemuth, Alan Watson, Colin Atkins, Michael Streams, and Ken Donathan.
Thank you. Let us begin by taking the appearances of staff.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Annette Garofalo on behalf of Commission staff.
Hi, good morning, Ms. Garofalo. You may proceed.
Thank you. Your Honor, this item is a request of Ogos Energy LLC and Earth and Air Technologies LLC for a waiver of its operational deadline at the Clees Mill Road facility. The request is to extend the deadline from March 16, 2022 to December 30th, 2022. Applicant has been before the Commission once before for a waiver and has been laboring consistently to place its project in service. The need for Anne Arundel County approval under a different site plan review process has required additional time and resources and has uncovered a little bit of an issue that the applicant is attempting to resolve. The result is the need for additional time to put the project in service. It's staff's position that these unforeseen events constitute good cause for the requested waiver of COMAR 20.62.0204C.
Thank you, Council. We'll take the appearances of the representatives from Ogos Energy and Earth and Air Technologies LLC.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Mike Miller, CEO of Ogos Energy LLC.
Thank you, sir. Do you have any other counsel that would like to make an appearance on the record?
I believe John Finnerty of Standard Solar, Inc.
Mr. Finnerty, are you with us? Oh, sir, you are on mute.
Good morning, Commissioner. John Finnerty with Standard Solar, supporting today's questions as part of the development team.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Commissioners. First of all, we really appreciate staff's recommendation that we receive a waiver for this project. As has been stated, the Clees Mill Road project is a 30% LMI project. It would be situated on 71 acres in Carroll County on land that is zoned industrial, where a utility scale solar is permitted by right. This means that when the review process is finally completed, we will be allowed to construct and operate this project. The blessing and curse of the site that we're working with is that it's incredibly isolated. No neighbors or passing traffic will be able to glimpse this solar project from any angle once it's completed. And that's the great news. The downside of this is that the isolation of the site has proven to be, first of all, complex and expensive and difficult to plan for from a BGE interconnection perspective. Secondly, we've run into extraordinary site control and title issues related to the history and configuration of the site. First, the requirement to negotiate and permit a temporary construction access road through land of a neighboring property owner, which has raised both title and contract issues and site planning issues in terms of permits. Secondly, providing the permanent access to the site through what is actually a very poorly documented common use gravel driveway that serves the site and serves some properties outside of the site, which has been an incredible process in terms of establishing great title for that access way. And then also documenting plans to traverse a BG&E transmission right of way, which bisects the site. In addressing all of these things, these site features pushed our project out of eligibility for the so-called simplified site plan review, which we successfully used for 4 other megawatts of community solar in Maryland that have been constructed in Carroll County. And it's required us to iterate the planning process between the county, BG&E, and the temporary access landowner, causing some extraordinary delays. By way of one specific example, once we realized we needed a temporary construction access, we negotiated with a neighboring landowner, had a handshake, and shortly thereafter, that landowner decided to outright sell their property. So we had to basically be put in touch with the new owner, renegotiate with that owner, and ultimately make an agreement with that owner, but only after they closed on the purchase of the property from the previous owner. That process alone extended over 9 months. With BG&E, there was fully 13 months between the time that they approved our project initially, which allowed us to get community solar capacity, and when they gave us our very first preliminary cost estimate in around March of 2020. That's been a very slow process. Like a lot of things in 2020, it was impacted by COVID, which is something that has impacted everything that we've touched. I think that our letter and the staff recommendations summarizes well why this project is important, why there's good cause for the delays so far, and most importantly, we're very confident that we will construct and complete the project by the requested extended deadline. We're very pleased of our relationship with Standard Solar on this project and others, particularly the fact that in December of 2020, we did contract with Standard Solar for the full and final financing of the project. So we are confident that the project will be fully funded through the remainder of its development as well as construction and operation.
Thank you for that background and explanation, Mr. Miller. Mr. Auslander, good morning. Are you participating on this item?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. OPC is not taking a position on this filing. We're just observing this morning.
Thank you. Do any of my colleagues have any questions on this item? Seeing none, we will adopt the staff position, and I move that we grant the requested waiver. The vote begins with Commissioner Herman.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton. And Commissioner Richard. Aye. I vote aye. The motion is approved. Thank you. With nothing additional on today's administrative meeting, today's meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you so much.
Please.